Magyana timirandasya ginanjana shalakaya chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. So today I was thinking to speak a little bit more as the basis of the whole education about attitude in Krishna consciousness, or our mood in Krishna consciousness. Very important topic. As a general, in Krishna consciousness we try to develop two things. One is different skills, like for example how to make arati, how to distribute books, how to play musical instruments, how to worship the deities, how to cook for Krishna, all these practical activities. But then another very important aspect is what is the mood behind these activities. When we are doing these things, when we are doing the puja, when we are distributing books, when we are playing kirtan, what is our mood, what is our attitude behind? So both of those are important and they are part of the process of bhakti, process of Krishna consciousness. But from the two, actually the mood and the attitude is more important. Why is that? Because to develop a certain mood or attitude, or we can say a character, qualities, value system, all these things, they are very similar. It takes long time. It takes years. It takes years. This is a question of many years of education. To help someone to learn a skill, it can be a question of few days or few months. Generally, all kind of skills you can learn them for a few months max. Even if you are like computer specialist, they ask you to do a certain kind of computer work. Well, for 1, 2, 3, 4 months you learn this. 1 year max. So skills is relatively easy to learn, but to do the job with the proper mood, with the proper attitude, this training takes long time. It takes years, generally at least 5, 10, 12 years. Traditionally in the Vedic system, they say at least 12 years. At least. To develop a character in someone, you need at least 12 years.
And this, in classical scenario, it starts year 5. So then the boys are, as the teachers in Gurukul, they say, the boys are like, they're very, you can actually form them in the proper shape easily. When the boy is like already 13, 14, 15, the ego already is quite present, the false ego, I mean, not the ego, and it's more difficult. So what we're doing now in ISKCON is kind of, we're dealing with what we have. Most of us didn't start at year 5, but something is better than nothing. So being aware of the obstacles that we are dealing with. It's one thing to say to a 6 years old boy, do it like this, then he'll just do it. But if it's like 20, when you tell him, then he will generally he will have an attitude to get, who are you to tell me? So this is what we're dealing with. It's objective reality, but working in cooperation, we have to try to overcome this. It's an obstacle, but we have to deal with it's an emergency situation. We don't have Varnashram intact right now in the West, so we're trying to establish it. So it requires mutual understanding and cooperation, because this is one of the main obstacles in training.
Yes. Basically, philosophically, our position, we all know that our position is we are spirit soul, yes? We are Brahman, correct? Someone doesn't know here? Theoretically, we know it, yes? But now it's not enough to know it theoretically. Now we have to start acting as a spirit soul. So to act as a spirit soul, this, technically one of the terms, it's called sadachar, proper way of action, sadachar, proper activities. So now these proper activities, they include these two aspects. One is to do the proper activities. Let's say, for example, you follow the four regulative principles, you chant Hare Krishna. These are the activities. But the second part from the sadachar is what is the mood behind. What is the mood? When you chant, with what kind of mood you're doing it. When you go and serve prasadam to a devotee, with what kind of mood you will do it. You will do it with a great humility, stay next to him 10 minutes ready to serve if he needs more, or you just go, get with a big spoon the part of prasadam, just throw it on his plate in such a way that the prasadam goes over his clothes, and then next moment when he asks, Prabhu, can you give me something else? And you can say, sorry, I'm already busy, I have to do something else. So what is the mood with which we are performing the activities? This is even more important. So just maybe for 15-20 minutes we'll go according to Shastra from some attitudes or moods which are correct, which are according to Sadachar, and some which are not, and then we can keep these things in mind and gradually start working. And as we said, it will like the change won't happen for a day or two or three, but if we are keeping this knowledge in our head and we are practicing Krishna consciousness, we will see that gradually this change will come. The more time passes, the more bigger change we will see.
So why this attitude is so important? One of the reasons is because we are dependent on what Tulsi Prabhu explains. For example, acquiring good qualities, virtues. We're dependent on other persons. The soul is dependent on Krishna, on the Guru, on the seniors. So by having proper attitude, then the seniors, they will shower blessings on us. That's the essence of it. And as Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita, famous verse, Tad vidi pranipatena pariprashnana seva upadgashanti tegenam jnana stappadarshina. This is the law, the rule established by Krishna, how we can acquire all the mercy, all the good qualities by humble attitude and rendering service. So that's the rule. And then, as Sri Prabhupada also explains, then the guru or the senior or the father or the husband is the same. It applies all over this range of relationships. And the senior person in the relationship, he will spontaneously shower all his blessings. That means all the knowledge, all the realizations he will willingly share with us. Otherwise, if you don't have this mood, then he won't be able to, even if he wants, because these things are established by the Lord. It happens in this way. Even he wants to, but his heart is not open. So it's automatic. Like even unconscious.
You give blessings, but it won't be wholehearted.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I want to say. So it's in our own interest to develop the proper attitude, and this way we'll advance. This is the humility, and the service attitude is the price what we have to pay in order to advance in Krishna consciousness, especially dealing with the senior persons, those who know more than us. They might be not on the highest level, but they are certainly on a higher level than us, and they can at least pull us up to a certain level. So therefore this attitude is so important. Otherwise, even if you learn the skills and you're very good in the skills, if you don't have proper attitude, then generally people don't want to be around us. You know, the prima donna, the best, somebody is the best in certain area, but he or she has a terrible character. Nobody wants to deal with this person. They will use him because he's the best singer, but everybody's like, okay, let him sing for
1 hour.
Let him perform. He's the best, and then before or after this, nobody wants to be around this person because he doesn't have the proper mood. And if you have the proper mood, then acquiring skills, as Tulsi will explain, is a matter of short time, because you get all the blessings, you get all the attention, all the training, and Krishna will be happy also, and from inside he will also empower.
So, as Pandava Prabhu mentioned, one of the first things about attitude is one should cultivate respect to authority. If we don't have respect to authority in spiritual life, basically we are doomed. We cannot make any advancement. Every morning we are singing this, Yasya prasadat bhagavat prasado. If we get the mercy of authority of the spiritual master, we will get the mercy of Krishna. If not, nagati kutopi. There is no attainment of any positive advancement in our spiritual life. So, respect for authority, this is very important quality. And Pandava Prabhu mentioned that how do we approach authority in order to get his mercy? Bhagavad Gita is explaining Tadvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. So we have to be ready to go with humble mood, humble attitude, and then sevaya, ready to serve, to do something. So, humility, opposite thing to pride. These two things, they are opposites. The moment we are proud, we are not humble. The moment that we are humble, that means we are not proud. Humility means that we are ready to accept what others are trying to teach us. If, let's say, there is a differences of opinions, if someone is humble, he will say, okay, looks like this Prabhu is correct, so that means I'm wrong. So this should be always the attitude towards our authority, from which we are going to learn. As Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is personally giving us example, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, my spiritual master told me that I am a fool number one, and I am not qualified enough to study Vedanta, and I just have to chant Hare Krishna. So we have to try to catch the same mood, to have the same idea how we have to approach our authorities. If the authority said you don't know, that means, okay, we have to have the humility to accept, okay, I don't know. Or if the authority says, yes, you know, you are very qualified, do this, we have to say, okay, I may not be, but because he is giving me blessings and he is saying I'm qualified, I should try. Let me try to satisfy him. So that means humility. Humility means you are ready to be an instrument in the hands of someone. Whenever he wants to correct you, you should obey. Whenever he is ready to empower you and give you mission, you should be ready to be an instrument, to do it. This means humility. And pride is opposite to humility. So what that means? What pride means? Someone comes to us and wants to give us mercy, and we say, who are you to tell me? I know already very well. Do you know from where I am in Krishna consciousness? Been doing these things 10 years already. Get out of here. Who are you to explain to me? Pride. Pride means you basically say, I don't want anybody to explain anything to me. I already know everything. So this closes the opportunity for us to get mercy. That's why we should always try to be very humble, as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, Trinadapi sunichena, humble as a grass, and tarorapi sahishnuna, very tolerant as a tree, always ready to get mercy. If someone wants to get us mercy, why not to take it? Why not to take it? And sometimes this mercy is coming as a correction. Vaisheshika Prabhu, His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu is saying, there is a mantra that can help us to advance in spiritual life better than the Hare Krishna mantra. Do you know this? Have you heard? Vaisheshika Prabhu, he said, there is a mantra that is more powerful than Hare Krishna mantra. You want to know this one? You want to know? I know the devotee is completely confused. They don't know what to say, what to do. And then they said, yeah, tell us. Vaisheshika Prabhu said, I live to be corrected from others. If we chant this mantra every day, then we will advance very fast in spiritual life. I live to be corrected from others. So basically, we don't start our day with the attitude, I already know everything because I spent 6 months already in the temple and everything is clear to me. No, we start our day with the idea, I'm not perfect, and now when the opportunity comes and some Vaishnava wants to teach me something, let me take this. Let me be corrected. In this way I will advance very fast. So
it's a good deal, because you have in this movement devotees who are very, very experienced. So they accumulated a lot of realizations. So by this simple thing that Tulsi Prabhu is explaining, that Krishna and Srila Prabhupada explained, Srila Prabhupada in one purport in Bhagavad Gita says the secret of the spiritual life, success of spiritual life, is to please the spiritual master. So we shouldn't be neophytes. We are neophytes, but we shouldn't remain neophytes and think that only our Diksha Guru is the spiritual master. The Guru, there are different kinds of Gurus. All the senior devotees can be accepted in a certain way as Guru. So it's a good deal, we can, just by this simple attitude, we can very shortly, we can acquire all realizations and all the blessings that these people got in their lifetime. They might be in the movement 30, 40 years, 50 years. And they can give us all of this wholeheartedly if we're ready to pay this small price. It's not a big deal. We have to be humble anyway. When you go and apply for a job, you have to be humble, no? When you go and for the job interview, that's one thing they are looking. Can you follow authority? Because you should be doing what you're told to do, no? Nobody looks for people who are opposite. So this thing, being humble, being active, all these things. So with this thing that we have to do anyway, even in material life, if we apply it in a spiritual life, we can get tremendous results. So why not try? It's good for us. That's what I'm trying to imply. It's good for us. We'll gain a lot by this.
yes, and another important thing about in regards to attitude is we have these two verses from Upadeshamrita, Nectar of Instruction. They show the things which are harmful for our spiritual advancement and the things that are helping us in our spiritual advancement. So the harmful things, these are activities, but actually behind every activity lies a certain mood, a certain way of mindset of looking of the world around us. So some of these moods or mentalities are destructive, some of them are very favorable for Krishna consciousness. So which one are the destructive ones? What is the attitude or the mood we have to try to avoid, not to cultivate? Yesterday we were speaking about these things. First one is atyahara. Atyahara means, let's see now who read Nectar of Instruction. Atyahara? Overeating. Yes. Overeating or over collecting. So behind this activity, depends for who. So behind this activity of overeating or over collecting, there is a certain mentality. So what is the mentality? What is the problem with this mentality? Why you would overeat? Greed, yes, but greed is little bit already very mature thing, but this is in development, certain mentality. What is it? Huh? Lust, yes.
Like this is what I connect to the lecture in the morning, where I was saying that Maya, she comes as like an Indian man.
Indian man.
Who said that?
No, I listen.
Let me know.
Just listen. And then
You just listen now.
and then like his children come, and then he's like Tamil Krishna, he was just pushed off to the edge, and then this big mother comes there with a child, and Tamil Krishna just falls off the bench in the train. You were there.
No, I was already done.
Ramarai Prabhu's lecture in the morning. Not like Indian man, he said. He
Anyway.
said Indian family
Anyway,
came.
okay, so a white Icelandic family comes in, sits and kicks Tamil Krishna off the. And I think that's the same thing, if you're over owning, like taking things for you, you're just pushing yourself away from spirituality. Spirituality is having nothing and giving everything in charity to the spiritual master.
Yes. Because spirituality means selfless life. That's spirituality. Spiritual life means you stop thinking much about you, you start thinking more about others. And when we speak about atyahara, when we speak about too much eating, overeating, or over-collecting, about what we are thinking at that moment.
Ourselves.
Yes, me. How to arrange my situation. What about others, Prabhu? I don't care about others. Most important is I have to be fine. So this is one attitude which is not in accordance with the bhakti mood, bhakti attitude.
So, just short note, just when we go for prasharam, so if we are in the mood that I want to immediately just go and take for me,
Because
rest,
there will be not enough for me later.
and there are like other Vaishnavas there, and in our mind doesn't cross the thought that, oh, maybe I should actually serve these Vaishnavas instead of just going in front and then going in. So this is atyaha. This is unfavorable for cultivation of bhakti. We may chant, we may sing in the morning and dance and chant. If we do this, when prasadam time comes, then that means we don't actually apply the knowledge properly. Okay? It's application of this way.
And can you imagine in one temple 30 devotees and all of them they are pushing to go in front to serve everybody else? Wow, amazing mood, huh?
We have this in a temple sometimes when the arati, there are two devotees, they want to, three sometimes, they are rushing and
Everybody wants to do the service.
it's good. The same should be while serving prasad. Same attitude.
That's the favorable mood, favorable attitude for advancing in bhakti. Then atyahara, prayasa. Prayasa means too much endeavors for material things. So this is also, there is a balanced border between these two, how much endeavor to put for our material well-being, how much for our spiritual. Generally we have to say that we should always give privilege or first place to our spiritual advancement in spiritual life. So if we think more about material than of spiritual, that means something is wrong in our mood. It will be difficult to cultivate bhakti in this way. So let's always try keep in our mind that no matter what's going on in my life, I can be brahmachari, I can be grihastha, I can be whatever, but always let's try keep first the spiritual principles in our life and then secondary everything else. Like when my day starts, let me give the privilege of the spiritual practices first. Let me start the day with reading something Krishna conscious, chanting at least few rounds, and then everything else. Then go to the making money or eating or all these things which are necessary for maintaining the body. So let's always give first place to the spiritual practice, and then everything else will anyway come automatically. And then we have prajalpa. Prajalpa, generally we understand prajalpa means to speak about mundane things, but also prajalpa means when you start gossiping or criticizing others. Oh, this mentality is very detrimental for advancement in devotional service. So we should not waste our time doing these things. Often we like to see others and compare ourselves with others. Well, I'm doing better than him, so that means everything is fine. No, this is not proper mentality in spiritual life. Spiritual life, we have to compare ourselves with ourselves, not with anybody else. So how I did yesterday? Did I manage today to do better than yesterday? Did I chant my rounds in a better way? Did I manage to have a better sadhana? Did I manage to do a better reading? We have to compare ourselves with ourselves, not with others. Should not look at others. Their situation is unique. Krishna knows what's their situation. We shouldn't look on their situation. Unless we are their authority and we have to help them to advance spiritually. So just to be focused on the spiritual life of others is a little bit more favorable for our spiritual life. We shouldn't do that. We should be focused on our spiritual advancement, how our spiritual life is developing nicely. And then if you have this mood in one place, it will be very, very favorable for development of bhakti. Prajalpa. We should not. Prajalpa means, directly translated, village talks. We should engage ourselves in village. You know village talks? In the villages, the grandmothers and grandfathers, they got together in the evenings because they don't have anything to do, and they just speak about anybody and everybody in the whole village. Do you know what happened with this one and with that one? And no, really? Yeah, of course. Oh, let me tell you, even something else worse happened. Let me tell you now. Village talk.
What is Mahaprabhu's Gramakata Nashunibe?
Gramya Vartana Hakibe. Balana Paribe Alabarana Kahibe. One should not engage himself hearing Prajalpa, one should not speak Prajalpa, one should not eat too opulent food, and one should not dress himself in a too opulent way.
So if either I or the other person is speaking Prajalpa, what should be the mood of each one? If the other one is like doesn't know, or he is just intentionally criticizing.
If someone
what
is
should that other one do?
If someone is speaking Prajalpa, what should the other person do? Well, we should try to move gradually the conversation towards Krishna conscious topics. No need, okay, the person, let's say he's criticizing someone, so now no need we to start criticizing him, because that means we are going on the same level. That's not favorable.
Oh, you commit offenses.
You did the greatest aparada in your life. You're going to go to hell for unlimited lifetimes. Rascal! No, we shouldn't do that. Rather, if we see that really the person is going in this direction, let's try to move the conversation in other direction. Or if we see that he is very determined to stay on the topic of Prajalpa and criticism, then just excuse ourselves kindly. Say, Prabhu, excuse me, but I have some service to do. Hare Krishna. So we can do it in this way. Of course, we are humans. Yeah. So.
If we saw that somebody is criticizing somebody, if it's like really in a bad way, we can stop it, because it's like really bad. Or
It depends. Vaishnava etiquette, if two senior devotees are quarreling or criticizing themselves, generally it's advisable that we don't take part. Because the moment we take part, that means we are automatically making...
yes,
Just leave the side here.
Automatically we are offending the other side, the moment we stay on one side. So if it's between the senior devotees, you just say, Hare Krishna, I don't understand, this is their pastime, and you just...
if we don't know what happened about it, we don't know what happened in life.
Yes,
But
if we don't know.
if we already know that something happened this, and he is telling something completely different, and he's just...
Sometimes we may say something, but even if when we are saying something, we should be careful how do we do it. Generally, we should not try to do offenses towards devotees. Now, if we are in a senior position and let's say there is a problem between younger devotees, yes, then our duty is to act on this and stop the quarrel. But just what I wanted to say is that it's a normal between devotees to have other talks except direct Krishna Katha. That's normal. It's not abnormal, because we are human beings and we are not liberated. We are not Maitreya or Uddhava from third canto of Bhagavatam. So it's normal that sometimes between the devotees can have just like some normal talk about the, I don't know, the weather or the what happened yesterday on Washington Square, or how the Prabhu feels. Maybe he has some pain, he couldn't sleep in the night. That's part of life, to have these discussions. But again, they should be made in a nice, friendly mood, and they should not overtaken the Krishna Katha. Krishna Katha should be the main thing. But sometimes we just need to say something else, because you are conditioned human beings from this life. So no need to be a robots, but at the same time we should keep Krishna consciousness the main thing, Krishna Katha the main thing. Yes.
On the point of if two senior devotees are having an argument, even if you know that one senior devotee is wrong or you know one devotee is wrong, and if you actually know you're wrong, if he takes offense, is that even though you're right and this person is wrong, if he takes offense, that could also be detrimental for your spiritual life.
Yes. What means detrimental means that if some devotee becomes offended, especially a senior, very advanced devotee, generally what happens is somehow, without understanding, we start losing our taste for spiritual advancement. So we don't want this to happen, because if we lose our taste for spiritual advancement, that means what we are going to do in spiritual life. That's why if it's between senior devotees, you don't deal with it. You just say Hare Krishna, and you just
If you ask,
leave the
if
place.
somebody comes, senior devotee, and asks you, so what did you see? What actually happened? Then you can say. But
Or what do you think about this?
yeah, then
You
are
can
the
give
right to
your
say.
opinion.
But like Dharma Shastras say that if you criticize the spiritual master, if you're wrong, if you criticize him for something that is wrong, then you take birth as a jackal or something, and if you're right, then you take birth as a worm, something like this. So this mundane is not worm, but something else, some other low animal. It was very bad birth. So this mundane consideration, am I right or am I wrong? They're not so important actually, because they're mundane. What is right and wrong, this is what we are talking here, is the mood. So if the mood is wrong, even if you're right, then you'll be punished by the law of karma.
Yeah. I was just thinking in this one because Krishna also doesn't like criticizing his devotees and hurting them, offending them. So I was thinking of this attitude. We should stop.
Yes.
Yeah, just the thing is that
To protect him.
we are not sure whether we want to be the instrument of this, if we want to be involved, because Krishna will find a way to correct the situation. So if you're sure that you want to be the person who will actually fix the situation, then okay, but then you have to take all the.
You must know what's the situation.
We should know what is our duty. In other words, if these people are dependent on us, we are their authority, then it's our duty to get involved. But most of the time, this is not our duty actually. We are not in the position. Unless this is your disciple, or you're the temple president, or in any other way you are their authority, actually it's not your duty to do this. Doesn't mean that you don't have.
So I should
Opinion.
not act if I see something. Just
No, you should act, but in a proper way, according to your duty.
to ask some.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Ask higher authority, or just see what will be beneficial in this situation.
Higher authority never guides you wrong anyway. I mean, they're beneficiaries.
That's the idea. That's why we take higher authority. Today we had a talk with Chaitanya Prabhu on this subject matter, that generally in spiritual life always we should have a guide. At some point this is the spiritual master, but even if before having a spiritual master, it's very good for us to have like a mentor in spiritual life. So basically for all main things in our spiritual life we should go and ask for advice. So that's my plan for the next 3 months. This is my plan, this is what I want to do. What do you think about it? And if we trust him, and if he is really thinking about ourselves, he will give us good advice according to his experience and knowledge. He will say, this is good for you, this is, I think if you do this and this will be the consequence, so no, better skip this one, just focus on this one. So he will give us advice, and if we have a good relationship and we trust him, we will take this advice. It will save us lots of troubles and problems and bad experiences in our spiritual life. Like for example, me and Pandava, when we joined, we had our authority, but then somehow the things happen in this way that after maybe 1 year, 1.5 year, we were left without any authority. So for
Your spiritual master left you?
spiritual masters we had,
Oh wow.
but anyway, it's a little bit complicated for explanation, but the point is that for many years we had to just somehow survive on our own. And it's manageable because, okay, here we are, 20 years later, we survived. But it's much easier when you have someone that you trust, and always when you have dilemma in your head, you can just go and you can ask, tell me, I have this dilemma, I'm wondering, shall I do this or shall I do this? And he's telling you, yeah, this is better. From the two, this is better option. It saves so much problems and anxiety and dilemma.
Another type for Jalpa, I just wanted to mention briefly. Sometimes I see devotees, they like to discuss the spiritual advancement of other devotees. Especially this applies to new devotees somehow. So they discuss, okay, this devotee, I think he's more advanced. This is more advanced. He's more advanced than. It's not our business to discuss these things, because it takes one, as Shastra explains, it takes one to understand one. It takes. You have to be Mahabhagavata to understand if somebody else is Mahabhagavata. If you're not, then you don't know. So better avoid this, classifying the devotees. And just the more practical is to accept the devotees that are more advanced than me. And of course the guru should be the most advanced. And then it's, again, it will save time for proper discussion. It's not the proper discussion. Who is more advanced? Or, yeah, I'm more advanced. That's even worse.
And then we have Niyama Agraha. Niyama Agraha means that we are doing the practice of Krishna consciousness, but we are not really putting our heart in it, which means we are lacking the right attitude, the right mood. We are performing the activities, we know the skills, but actually the mood is not there. Or whimsically we just say that we won't do something from the practice just because we don't like it or we don't feel to doing it. These two attitudes also, they are not favorable for our advancement in bhakti. Let's say someone comes and says, well, generally this is what devotees do. Let's say devotees, they go to toilet when they go to big, how you say it? Clearing. Prabhu, I'm going for clearing. What is this clearing? So when you go to big bathroom, generally devotees, they take shower. So when you say this to someone, he may say, oh, I don't feel like doing it. Okay, but then you don't have the proper attitude to advance spiritually. So in this way, when we follow the process of Krishna consciousness, we should try to do whatever is recommended and try to do it consciously, not just mechanically, as a ritual. We can do many rituals, but it's not necessary that this will help us to advance spiritually. Rather, whatever we are doing, let's do it with the proper mood, with the proper attitude.
Well, this word ritual, I just wanted to comment a little bit. We shouldn't think that what we are doing are rituals, because rituals in the West, the connotation of this word is negative. That means you do something that you don't understand why you're doing it. It's just some kind of tradition, superstition. But actually what we are doing, everything we do, even these things like going to taking shower, the way we do it, how we take prasadam, how we sleep, everything is not a ritual. It's first, well, there are two things. One is it's the dharma of the body. That's how the body works. You are healthy if you take cold shower. You are healthy if you clean, if you take shower after toilet, etc. All these things. This is how you maintain it. It's not a ritual. just has deep meaning. And also the other things we're doing, spiritual activities. For example, we are worshipping Tulsi, or we are doing Mangal Arati in the morning. This is also not a ritual. It is. These are the activities that the devotees, with pure love for Krishna, they do in the spiritual, out of spontaneous love. They are making Mangal Arati there. They're worshipping Radha Krishna. The most intimate devotees, of course, of Radha Krishna. Not everybody is invited for Mangal Arati. Here everybody can go. So there is nothing like ritual. We just don't understand all this. How this has a very deep spiritual significance.
The things that are said in the Vedic culture, like, you should do this, you should do this, and this and that. So what do you comment on that? Those are not specific rituals given by our authorities above?
Yeah, they are. I'm just saying that the word ritual has a bad negative meaning in the West. So usually people, when they
took it in a different way.
Yeah, but if you take it in a positive way, yes, these are the proper activities for spiritual upliftment. So we should take them. We shouldn't take them as this is something like superstition. We're just doing it. I don't understand why. Circumambulating Tulasi.
Yeah,
just
why, without knowing it.
You know the story of the cat and the cat and the basket. Like there was this wedding, and then everything was ready for the wedding, and then just before the wedding started, the ceremony, the priests and everybody, the Vedic mantras chanting. There was a cat there, so the mother, she just found the cat is a dirty animal, so it's not supposed to be there. So the mother, what to do? She found some basket or whatever, and they put the cat inside and closed it so that she doesn't cause mischief there. So the daughter saw this, but she didn't understand what's going on. So when she was marrying her children, she said, "Well, everything's ready. Last thing, we should have cat in the basket." That's like, why? Because my mom did it on my wedding, so it must be important.
It's part of the ritual.
It's a ritual. So people don't understand. So that's what I mean by ritual.
Yeah, no.
It's not like this.
Without knowing stuff.
We should know what we are doing, and we should do it with the proper mood, with the proper attitude. And then the last thing is greed, laulyam. Greed also is not favorable for devotional service. Laulyam, yes. So we should get rid of this mentality, this attitude also. It can be greed for honor, for respect, for special position in Krishna consciousness. When I do something, everybody should recognize me. Oh, I distributed yesterday 100 books, now everybody should understand this. This is also not favorable for bhakti. So we should not be greedy for respect, for honor from others, special position, all these things. They are unfavorable for bhakti. So if we cultivate the proper attitude and a proper mood in devotional service, our spiritual advancement will be very, very easy. Very, very easy. And what is the proper mood? What is the proper attitude? Next verse explains. Utsaha, Nishchaya, Dhairya. We should be very enthusiastic when we are performing the activities of bhakti, not doing it mechanically. And we should do it with the proper mood of humility, tolerance, determination, focus. All these things should be there. If we have these qualities, then it will be very easy to advance in the process of bhakti.
I think we also should mention detrimental for our practice is association with worldly people. That means non-devotees. It has to be given up. Like Mahaprabhu, when he was asked, please define who is a Vaishnava, one of the things he said is Asat Sangha Tyaga. Asat means non-devotees, Sangha, association. Tyaga means you renounce this. A Vaishnava Chara. This is a Vaishnava. The Vaishnava is somebody who rejected the association of non-Vaishnavas. That means, doesn't mean that when you meet your parents and they are non-devotees, you don't talk to them. Or you meet somebody on the street and you don't say hello or good morning. It means you don't exchange intimate association with these people. You don't share your internal intimate desires and thoughts. You don't give them gifts. You don't treat them in special way. In this way, it will create a bond between you, and you don't want this bond because that means you go where they go, and they go in a bad place. You have to go with them. So just nice, formal, civilized relationship, but not intimate with non-devotees. And we are meant to cultivate intimate relationship with the devotees only devotees.
Okay, Hare Krishna. Thank you, dear devotees, for your attention. Yes.
I had one question. How to gain faith in authority? Because a lot of times we see, especially in the West, over the years of this kind, a lot of authorities have had some troubles and a lot of things have happened.
How to gain faith in authority? Well, first,
First thing, we should know authority means, by definition, means somebody who is advanced in devotional service. So authority is a good word. That's the first thing we should know. That there was some problems in ISKCON or whatever, in Catholic Church or everywhere there's problems with spiritual authority. Doesn't mean that authority by itself is compromised now. No, authority means somebody who can help you to advance in spiritual life.
yeah, the idea that, let's say, someone had a problem, it doesn't mean that such thing as a proper good authority does not exist. Yeah, this will be wrong conclusion. As for example, you need a paint to paint a wall, and you buy from the shop a bad paint, and you try to do the job, but actually it doesn't work. So this does not mean that there is no good paint in the shop. There is, just you're not ready to pay the price to get the right thing, the real stuff. So in the same way, we should examine the authority, because Shastra is explaining what is the authority. Of course, one way to do it is just observe people, spend time with people, and then you see their character, you see their qualities. And once you are convinced that, okay, this is a real authority, then you can put your complete faith in him. And this is actually the process, how you accept authority, how you accept guru. You have to, Shastra is saying, test him for a certain amount of time. Observe him.
1 year.
Yes, observe him. See if he is qualified, if he is bona fide, if he is acting according to what Shastra describes. But once this period of observation and test is over, then you cannot have any more doubts. During this period, you can have doubts. Let's see now how serious he is, how he is controlling his senses. Is he getting angry very often? Is he very nicely, steadily engaged in devotional service? You observe him, you may have doubt. But once you observe him and you conclude, yes, this is a genuine Vaishnava, genuine authority, then you cannot doubt anymore. His word become absolute after that. Once you accept him as a complete authority in your life, you cannot have doubt in your words.
I have something to add on this one. So I heard in Srila Prabhupada's lecture, it was in Hindi actually, and he said, like, if you want to find guru, a true guru, a true person is only that who talks and acts nothing but Krishna. Nothing at all. Like, everything he does,
Everything
has to be
is for Krishna. This is
Some
guru.
people can fake it, but you will know it eventually, because
Yes.
this is a real guru. He does nothing but Krishna, you know.
Yes.
And he say, whenever you see such a person, do pranipad
Yes.
right away. Just surrender, because that's the person that you should follow.
Thank you.
And
Yeah,
you
good
will
point.
eventually know it, Prabhu. That's how I found it.
Of course, practically, I also want to add that it may be difficult that in the beginning we accept, for some reason, with our mentality, it may be difficult to accept someone in a such absolute way. So then I would say, let's accept something. Let's try building a relationship. Like I heard many relationships between young devotees, especially Guru Kulis, and some gurus, they started in this way. Maybe they were traveling together, not that they were accepting this person as absolute authority, but with the time, when they spent time together and they were observing them actually the faith was created. And then they understood this person is worthy that I give up my life to him. I can surrender totally to him. I can accept his word as absolute. So if we don't have absolute faith, you can just work with someone, with some people, and then gradually it will automatically work. Like sometimes people are saying how to have full faith in Shastra, 100% faith in Shastra. Well, if you cannot have 100%, have 10 or 20%, accept something what Shastra is saying. For example, Bhagavad Gita is speaking about the modes of material nature. That's something practical. You can observe it in your personal life. So if you see that this chapter of Bhagavad Gita is true, why not the rest of Bhagavad Gita? So same logic we can apply about authority. We may not see how someone is 100% authority, but let's try to see how he is 20%. If we see that, we will be ready to apply 20% in this relationship. And then gradually it will build up. So it may take some time, but the point is that this is very important for spiritual life. Without faith in authority, it will be very difficult to advance. So we have to build this up. No matter, it may take few months, 1 year, 10 years, but we have to build this. Whatever is necessary, yes.
So now we are new in Krishna consciousness. We know and we see and we feel that there is authority or spiritual master that we want to surrender into. But we don't have the etiquette to approach that person. In that manner, what should we be doing? Like, if we really, I want to get more close to him. How can I approach that person?
Thank you. Very good question. Actually, this is the question for the lecture that we spoke today. That's the whole idea, that if we want to approach authority, but we are actually not qualified, we don't have the etiquette, the skills to do it, the adhikar to do it. But if we have the proper mood, the proper attitude, he will accept us. We may not know how to do it, what to do, what to say, shall we bow down or not, but if we have the proper mood, if the mood is pranipat, if the mood is humility, if the mood is that he is seeing that we are ready to correct ourselves and to learn, no problem. Any genuine authority will accept us. So if the proper attitude is there, the process will work. Even if you know exactly the etiquette, but your mood is different, the person sees, oh, actually he's proud, he thinks already everything is clear to him, it won't work. The relationship won't work. So that's why this is the fundamental thing we have to learn in the beginning. Get the mood. Get the mood. On Sankirtan is the same thing. Sometimes you go on the street with the books and you want to distribute book, and you are paka. You got up 1 o'clock, you chanted 64 rounds, you read for 4 hours, and now you go on the street super puffed up that I am Terminator, Robocop, now they will see. And then 4 hours, one small book. Why? Because you're not qualified to be used by Krishna. You're so puffed up, you're smelling from such a far distance. Your false ego is so... Yes, Krishna cannot use you. Krishna don't want to use you because he's a problem now. And then other days you go out, you didn't finish your rounds, you're totally spaced out, you didn't have time to read, but you go on the street and you get into the mood, the proper mood. Krishna, I'm here, I'm totally not qualified, but if you want to use me, please use me. Whatever. If they take one book, I'll be so happy. And then Krishna says, okay, he's a good instrument, let me do it. And suddenly you distribute like 40 books for 1 hour, 2 hours, and you're like, wow, what happened just now? You cannot understand. Why? Because you are instrument. That's why we are saying the mood is the most important thing. Everything else we will learn. What to do, how to act with the spiritual master, how to serve him, how to get in consideration the mood of the spiritual master. All these things gradually with the time we will learn. But we should have the proper basis. What is the basis? Proper attitude. Go with humility, go with the mood that you don't know. Things are not clear to you. You are ready to learn. You are ready to take advice. You are ready to take correction. Once we have this mood, everything will work perfectly. That's the idea. So don't worry to get close to authorities, to spiritual masters. Just do it with the proper mood. Be ready. Be ready. When he says something, be ready to accept. And then no problem. You'll see very, very soon your relationship will flourish, will become very nice.
One thing I also find in my life, I always have multiple authorities. One authority is telling me one thing, another authority is telling me to do it like this. And then, you know.
Wow. Arjuna had the same problem in Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto. Krishna told him to kill Ashwatthama, and Yudhishthira and Draupadi said,
Bhim. Bhim was the opposite.
Bhima and Krishna, both
Bhim
of them.
and Krishna.
They said kill him, and Yudhishthira and Draupadi said don't kill him. So two authorities told him two different things, and he was in a very difficult situation. So you wanna say you feel like that? Yeah? You wanna see you feel like that?
I
Like-
want what?
Like Arjuna.
Yeah, it's similar to that a lot of times.
So what to do?
Well, what I do, he pleases them both.
Yeah.
But
We should try as far as possible to please all our authorities. It's not possible 100%, that's why we should try first to please our main authorities. If we have a guru, the guru should be pleased. If we have senior devotee who is taking care of us, he should be also pleased. But then if we can please some other Vaishnava, why not? Why not getting his mercy as well? What's the problem? It will take what? Half an hour from our day or whatever. Let's do it.
Gain and gain.
it just causes confusion sometimes.
It's true. It costs, but this is life. Life is very colorful. Can go, Jimmy, if you like.
No, we're just gonna change position.
But if you have to go, you go because of this meeting.
We're over time, no?
Yes, we're a little bit over time. So basically, the idea is try to please them as much as possible. And then, if you are confused, sometimes go to your authority. That's why we may have many authorities in spiritual life, but one or two of them should be our direct authorities. We should have a direct guru. We should have some direct devotee who is senior, who is kind of taking care of us. So the moments when we are confused, we don't know what to do, just go to them and ask for an advice. This and this, what to do now? I'm in dilemma, I'm confused, please help me. And they'll help us. They'll give us advice what to do, how to do. Works out? Okay. Thank you very much, dear devotees. Shri Prabhupada ki.